Good day everyone, my name is Punchy. In today's class, we'll create a basic document and we will use the internal, the inline and the external method to add styles to our HTML document. Here is the project we want to work on, and right here we have our logo and we also have the background image or photo here. Okay, let's get started. Let's open up Visual Studio Code Editor. So let's create a new file. We call it index.html. Press enter. Let's declare the document type. Then let's input the root HTML element. Now let's input the head section. So right inside the head section, let's nest the page title, page. You can use anything you like. Now let's declare the body section. Right inside the body section, let's create a div, which is a container to nest other HTML elements on the body section. So right here, nest nav element. I'll give it class navbar. Then inside the navbar here, let's import our image here with the class logo. Then I'm going to assign value to this src attribute by giving a path where the image can be found. So here, let's create an ordered list items, and in here we're going to nest our links right inside the list items. So let's create for home. Let's create for home. So I have the return followed by the, we can have the class. So we have the class, give the class active, the href, so let's close this. Then we'll call it home. Let's create another one, but let's copy this that to save time. Then we get rid of this class here. Let's get rid of this. Good. So we only change this, change it to about. Then copy this again, and copy this again, and paste it right here. So we change this to services, right under here, I just copy these two and we name it here. So we call it contact, and feedback. Feedback. Good. Now we have our close another list here and close nav element. So right under this, so let's create another container div, then give it class center. So right inside the div we'll have each one element and perform to punchy global media, then let's have another four elements impacting the youth and reshaping the minds of the young adults. Good. Then here, let's create another container to give it class name button. Then right inside the container, we're going to have two buttons. So the first button, the content should be explore more. Here, put another button and we call it. We create a class here, and call it bit button 2. Then let's put subscribe. Oh, that's good. Now let's save this up. Save. Minimize. Let's come here and launch this. You see what we have? The list items. We have our list items here. We have the H1 element, we have the H4 elements, and our buttons. So HTML only focuses on the layout and the structure of a web page. And let's work on the styling of our HTML document. We'll be using these lines of codes. Now let's go back to Visual Studio Code Editor. Let's create another file. So I'll name it style dot css. I'll press enter. So I'll come here, our code. So let's copy all of this. So let's copy all of this. Copy, copy. We'll come here and paste. Don't worry, I will explain. I will explain the code. Now let's save up. Let's minimize this for now. Let's open a folder, basic document. Now let's open this up. Okay, now you observe that nothing is happening despite the fact that we've saved our css file. That's because we have not linked our style to our html document. So this is an example of an external css file. So now let's link it. So right under the edge section, so we're going to make use of the link element. Then followed by the href attribute, its value where the image can be found. Now let's close this up. Now let's save, minimize, Visual Studio Code editor. Let's open the file. Now you see what we have. Let's compare the code, starting with the HTML element here. We declare the document type here, followed by the head section. Then inside the head element we have our title element, pgm page. So you can see pgm page here, right? So this is where we link our css file. So then we have a body section. We open the body section. We have two containers, a container here to nest. We have a container here to nest other html elements on the body section. You can see. So the first element we have here, we have the nav element, and right inside the nav element, that's where we nest the img element represent for our image. This img for our image. Then you see the source src attribute where the image can be found. Then we have our list, html list. So this type of list is another list. Then we nest our a tag, our link, inside the list items. So here we create another div or container inside the main container. We have two elements here. We have h1 and h4. Welcome to Punchy Global Media. See it here. Welcome to Punchy Global Media. Why the h4 element? Impacting the youth and reshaping the minds of the young adults. So you can see that too here. Then we create another container. Then we call it button. One explore more, the other one subscribe. If you come here, you see explore more, subscribe. So that's that about the HTML. Then the style here, we have a wrapper. Okay, So I want us to have a split screen. Good. To select classes, it must be dot then followed by the name. It must be dot then followed by the name. So the first class that we have here is wrapper for our div, which is the main container. So we set the background image for the whole container to be this image or photo you are looking at as behind. Then the background size to cover the whole page, the height of it. Then we have another wrapper here for the logo. You can see the logo. Then let's look for logo here. Logo. Okay, you can see logo here. So for the logo and the nav bar, so this is the nav bar and the logo. So for the two of them, then we create a property and value for them, that we want the width to be 140 and the height to be auto. So this and this. Then we set the paddings here. For the nav bar, the width is 100%, the top and the left is 0, and the background is black, you can see. Then here we have another div for another container where we have our h1 and h4. Welcome to Punchy Global Media. H1. Okay, so let's look for h1 here. Okay, this is for h4 and this is for h1. So color is white, that's why I see the color is white here. The font size is 70 pixel, you see. Then for both h1 and h4, and that same thing goes for the button here. So button, the class btn, so we look for btn, you see here to the left. And for button we have our properties and values. In description menu, I will drop the link address where you can have access to this source code so that you can practice with it or even work on it. That's for linking external CSS file because it is used to style more than one HTML page. Now let's look at the internal method of imputing our styles on our HTML page. So let's comment this line of code out. Let's end it here. Before we copy, let's save. Now let's go to our browser again. Let's refresh. Now we see what we have. Okay, now, and that's because we have comment out the link elements to our external CSS file, and because of that, browsers ignores comments, so it won't display on the browser. So permit me to copy these lines of code. Just this for the buttons. Copy, I'll explain. Then under the S section, let's create the style element. Then let's paste the lines of code here for button. Okay, supposed to have a full stop here. Now let's save this up and compare. Let's refresh. You see, now let's compare. Now the point here is internal CSS is used to style only an HTML page, just a page. Because right now what we did here is we look for the div that is having the class name button, and here we create a style for it. And as you can see here, reflect here for our buttons. And if you want to go for the third one, which is the inline method of styling our document, here we just add the style attribute here, style attribute, and we will assign property and value. Just permit me to use that for the sake of explanation. This is not the best, but just for explanation sake. Now let's refresh. Okay, so you can see that the star changes our small black circle to a small red circle. So the point here is that the inline styling helps to style just an element on an HTML page. The internal just help to style an HTML page, just one page, while we use the external CSS file in order to style many HTML pages. Alright guys, thank you for your time.